I heard you actually, or maybe you tweeted this. It was Alan Greenspan coming out and saying his biggest fear in the U.S. economy right now was high inflation under Powell's watch. And it struck me as odd because didn't this cycle begin under Greenspan's watch? Or do you think it's just gone way farther than he expected?
Yeah, Greenspan has been out of Dodge for a while now. And, he never wants to accept responsibility for the monster that he created, right? He's kind of like Frankenstein, and the Fed is his monster.
Yeah.
And it's already turned on everybody. But, I don't know that Greenspan realized that it would get this far when he started. It's like I say, Greenspan wrote this playbook that everybody else is following. And every time we get a new chairman, they just add a few more plays, but it's the same theory of the game, which is just keep printing money, keep kicking the can down the road.
Right.
And of course, every time we add pages, we have to print more, right? Because it's like the economy is addicted to this, debt drug. And the bigger the addiction, the more of the drug we need every time it starts to wear off. So he got this whole thing started. But Alan Greenspan is a smart guy as far as understanding the economy and money. By far, much smarter in this respect. I don't know about IQ or anything, but as far as economic understanding, the rest of the Fed chairmen that have come after him are clueless compared to Greenspan. But Greenspan, sacrificed his principles. And I think he did things that he knew were wrong because he was more concerned about being liked and being popular and just having everything go well than presiding over a crash, which, would have been better for the economy.
Right.
So I think Greenspan pretty much knows that we're screwed.
Right.
And if you actually hear him talking sometimes, he sounds like me as far as what you got to buy gold, the dollar's going down, inflation, we have these big deficits, unfunded liabilities. I mean, he understands the problem much better than Powell does or Yellen did or Bernanke did, any of these guys. So,
right.
I pointed out on Twitter, you got Greenspan, who was the Fed chairman, saying his biggest concern is inflation. And then you have Powell, who's the current Fed chairman, saying, yeah, my biggest concern is also inflation, but they're both concerned about the same thing for the opposite reasons. Greenspan says, I'm worried about inflation because it's too high. And Powell says, I'm worried about inflation because it's too low. Well, which Fed chairman is right? I think it's Greenspan that's right, which means we're all screwed. Because if the real problem is too much inflation, yet the Fed thinks the problem is too little, and they go and create more, right? I mean, what are they going to do? Obviously, they're making the problem that Greenspan is worried about much worse.
Now, did Powell's approach surprise you? Because when he was appointed Fed chair, he seemed very hawkish. And I think he even came out and said, it's not my job to support the market, right? Everything.
But as soon as he got the job, he found out that was his job. He didn't really understand the nature of the job until he assumed it.
Right.
And he realized, oh my God, this is a gigantic bubble and I don't want it to collapse. And in fact, when he started to do the job that he thought he was hired to do, he started trying to normalize interest rates.
Yeah.
I mean, what did Donald Trump do to him? I mean, he was like, going to tar and feather the guy. I mean, they were ready to burn this guy in effigy. He was, every day he was bashing. I got to fire Powell. Powell's a fool. He's killing us. Powell's our biggest enemy. Powell's the bigger enemy than China, right? All of a sudden, the Fed was the big boogeyman. China took a back seat, right? Yeah. It was the Fed that we had to work. So pretty soon, it's like, that old movie, Cool Hand Luke, right? Where they take Paul Newman out and get his mind right. So it didn't take long for Donald Trump to get Jerome Powell's mind right. Because now he's all about, QE and he's not even thinking about raising interest rates.
Right.
He's all about the stock market bubble. It's all, so he's completely done a 180 and he's exactly, where Yellen was. And the interesting thing is when Donald Trump was a candidate, he was critical of Yellen because she was just trying to inflate a stock market bubble. Didn't care about the real economy, just tried to make it look good by keeping interest rates artificially low. And he said, I'm not going to reappoint Yellen because I don't want somebody like that. I want somebody who's like a sound money guy, right? Who's going to, and that's why supposedly he put Powell in there. And then as soon as he put him in there, he complained he wasn't like Yellen. Yeah. In fact, he wants rates negative. He wants Powell to be even easier than Yellen ever was or Bernanke ever was. I mean, he's demanding negative rates. Like 0 isn't even low enough for Trump. 0 is too high. We need to go negative. Mm-hmm. So this shows you that it's all insane, right? Who the gods destroy, they first make mad, right? And you can see that. I mean, the whole nation is crazy, and that means we're on the eve of our destruction here.
Okay, Dill, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you at least one question about Bitcoin. Forgive me now, Peter, but I got to go there because here's the thing. I mean, you're such an outspoken libertarian. This is a decentralized, borderless asset class. A lot of people would say this was made for you, right? And so why the bearish sentiment? Why the disbelief?
Yeah, if there was ever a bubble built for me, this was it. Why? Okay. I really should have cashed out with $1 billion on this thing. But had I gotten into it, and of course, had I got into it, I would have felt compelled to pump it, right? But I can't pump and dump, right? I personally can't buy something and then tell people to buy it only because I want to get rid of it. I'm not going to sucker people into a pyramid scheme. I have to tell people to do what I believe in. And I could have said, hey, I'm in on this Bitcoin thing. I don't think it's going to work, but there's enough fools out there that might think it's going to work. So let's buy a bunch of it. And when the price goes up, we'll all sell at a higher price to all these fools. I mean, it's kind of hard for me to lead the troops into that kind of situation. But at the end of the day, do I like Bitcoin? No, it's got nothing to do. It's everything I don't like about fiat money. I don't like dollars and I don't like euros. Not because they're made of paper, I don't like them any better if they're digital. And it's not because the government is the one that's printing them. If a private citizen printed up some fiat money, I wouldn't like it any better. I mean, it's just paper.
Yeah.
We need sound money. Sound money is based on a commodity, a real thing, right? A real tradable good that can have value relative to other tradable goods. So it can provide a frame of reference, a benchmark with which to price things. Gold is a real commodity and has real applications in the world. So it has a value and you can express that value relative to all the other commodities that people buy and sell. So it's not money. It's just people are buying it, hoping that one day maybe it would be money, but it's never going to be money.